Hi everybody! Welcome to my video today on 5 ways to use your SLP or speech language pathologist as a resource. My name is Marcy Melzer and I am an intuitive speech language pathologist, and I help parents teach their late talking children to use the words they need to share their wisdom with the world. And I do this naturally within 3 to 6 weeks using my Waves of Communication parent coaching program. Today, we're going to talk about 5 ways that parents can use their speech pathologist as a resource to help them become language facilitators and learn to teach their children to use words naturally as well. So, the first recommendation is to observe the session. It's really important that you observe your speech therapist's session because you can see the following things. You can make sure, you can find out what your speech therapist does actually to get your child to talk. So you're observing them to find out what they're doing to make it happen. And you can see what toys the speech therapist is using. You can also see how they play with the toys that they're using. And the other thing that's really cool to observe is what the speech therapist is doing to reward your child when they do a good job, when they try hard, because those rewards are things that you can use at home to get your child to do to try at words as well. So even if it is behind the glass or outside of a door or on video or something like that, it is important whenever possible for you to observe your child's speech therapy session. Okay, here's tip number 2. Tip number 2 is to schedule some coaching time in every single session and get home ideas in every single session. So I recommend that parents have at least 10 minutes of time blocked out in their speech therapy schedule for that day's appointment to do parent coaching. So even if your appointment is only 30 minutes long, I still recommend that you take 10 minutes of that session and you have the speech therapist actually working with you. And you want to have the speech therapist tell you things like what are their goals and what is the progress that they're seeing every session. And you also want to get some very specific strategies that you can use every day. So these are things that you can try and you can practice every day at home. So it's important that you get home strategies at every session because your speech therapist is only working with your child potentially only 20 minutes or 20 minutes twice a week if they only have a half-hour session. So it's important that you watch the session and you learn what they're doing, but then you get strategies to do those ideas at home so that you can practice the whole rest of the time in between sessions. So, moving on. Number 3. In the last few minutes of that coaching time, you should practice those strategies in front of your speech therapist and get feedback. So sometimes parents just stop at getting the ideas or strategies to take home, like, read a book with your child or do a puzzle or something like that. But when you get home and try to do it with your child, you may not know how to do it, or it may not come obviously as naturally to you as it does to the speech therapist. So it's important that you practice those things with what the speech therapist has right there while your child's there in the session with the learning, and get some feedback from them about how you're modeling or what kind of cues you're using or not, because those are the kinds of things that the speech therapist is going to be able to pick up if they observe you actually trying the strategies. So that's tip number 3. Here's tip number 4, which is actually guided for people who do not see their speech therapist. So tip number 4 is for parents who have school speech therapists. So most late talkers are in a pre-K or kindergarten situation, or they're in a special ed classroom where the teachers do regular communication. So I recommend that if you don't normally see your speech therapist or you don't have regular communication with them, that you use the daily communication that the teachers are using and address the specific questions you have on that same form. That way, maybe, like I said, if you don't know what the speech therapist is doing with your child, it's important that you get that communication from them. And if you just put a notebook in or you send random emails, that might not get picked up by your speech therapist because most often they have a very large caseload or they're not even at that school every day. So the communication that you already have going back and forth with your child's teacher can help you bridge that gap and get to your speech therapist a little bit more easily. So go ahead and use that same paper that you get home about your child's behavior or the activities that they had. Flip it over, get another color of ink, and write your questions on there. And then fold it in half or leave it right on top of your child, because typically the teacher's going to check the backpack for any kind of homework activity or something that they should have brought home from you. And they'll see that note. And they can put that note directly into the speech therapist's mailbox at the school, so the speech therapist knows that they need to communicate with you. Either have them send you an email or, respond in some kind to that message. So that's the tip about using that. Already standard communication with your teacher as a bridge to get to your school speech therapist. And when you ask them those questions, they need to be very specific things. So that is tip number 5. It is tell your speech therapist about everyday challenges that you are having in your home with your child and be specific. So it's really important when you ask a question of a speech therapist about your child that it be a specific kind of question. A general question like, how'd the session go today? Or, what kind of stuff can we work on? Are going to get a general answer like, he did okay, or he did great today, or he was tired. And a specific question like, what can I do when he's having a tantrum after lunch? Or what can I do if he wakes up with a bad dream and can't tell me? Those are the kinds of questions that are going to get specific answers to actually solve the challenges that you have. So when you tell your therapist the specific challenges that you're having at home, then they're able to actually solve those problems. So that was 5 different tips that you can use to use your therapist as a resource. And I actually have one bonus tip too, and that bonus tip is here. Oops. That bonus tip is to use video. I don't know where my card went. The tip is to use video. So when you are trying to communicate those challenges at home, those specific things, the struggles that you're having that you really need help solving, take some video of your child. Even 30 seconds of video of your child in a challenging communication situation or a time that you're having some struggles is going to be able to help your speech therapist find out what kind of strategies your child is already using to communicate and help you adapt those strategies to be able to be more functional for you at home and help them become less upset. So I hope these strategies were helpful for you. Go ahead and leave a comment underneath this video if you think it was helpful and you have any other ideas of your own you want to share. And I'll be doing some more videos like this, so I'll see you next time. Don't forget to check out my website, wavesofcommunication.com, for all details about how to help your late talking children. And there's articles and information on there too that are going to go hand in hand with this video. So I hope that you enjoy it. Check out the website, and I'll see you next time.